This is Brent with American Lighting, and we've covered a lot of material about tree lighting and products to use and how to install those products and how to estimate how many light sets we need. And now I want to talk about just a few installation tricks of the trade that I think are important as you're installing lights. The first one is to run your power line to your trees before you even start installing lights on the tree. You want to make sure that all the lights are on throughout the installation so that when you're done, you can walk away and realize that you haven't broken any bulbs, torn any sets apart, that you haven't caused any power drop because of too many sets being installed. End to end, you'll know at the end, if everything's lit and looking beautiful, that you can walk away and you know that that particular tree is ready to go. So keep the lights on as you're installing lights in your tree. Let's say we want to jump power from one tree to the next. And one way that we can do that when we're installing standard grade light sets, again with a standard plug and socket configuration. So you run power to the tree, you've got an inline plug where you're going to run power to the next tree. So picture an extension that goes from tree to tree with an inline plug. You can connect all your light sets to this next inline connection. Same thing going down the line, another tree, another female plug will get power to that tree. Another 10 feet, another 20 feet, another inline plug. You can just keep doing that until you have a whole series of trees powered up in a line. And that's really helpful either on ground connections, but also when you've got trees in a very high traffic area, you can actually elevate this entire line up in the air, probably about 10 feet where people can't get to it. And you can picture that jumping from tree to tree and being able to get power from one tree to the next. And that's for standard grade light sets. We can also do the same thing with our coaxial light strings. And so we've got this power connector connected to power. We've got a spacer that can run power to a tree. And at that tree, there's a Y connection where you can run a set of lights going up and down the tree. And you can also put a spacer in this tap and jump power with a spacer to the next tree, and so on and so on. So our coaxial accessories allow you to do that with watertight connections, either on the ground or up in the air. When you have connections, standard grade connections, either C7, C9 cords, even extension cords, and you want these particular connections to not break apart in the wind, people kicking them on the ground, etc. What you do is you just take those and you tie a simple knot and then put those plugs together. And you can see that when you do that, you can pull on that and that's going to stay together. If that's up in a tree, you'll never have to climb that tree and put those connections back together. That's going to keep them securely fastened. Same thing on the ground. When you have extension cords, tie them in a knot like that. They're not going to pull apart. You're not going to have to go out on a maintenance run to get things lit up again. When it comes to key tools that you need to take on your installations, one thing that I like to carry with me every time I'm doing any sort of holiday installation work is handy tool called a side cutter. So you can use these to cut wire, make your custom extension cords, add plugs to the wire as well. And the way that you do that with these is just kind of like this. So you've got a slider on a male plug and you just want to push that together into an electrical cord. Another key installation tool that I like to take, especially when tree lighting and doing canopy wrap lighting, and sometimes it can keep you from needing a boom lift on an installation as well. I've got this extension pole with a paint roller that's been broken apart and the metal's been bent to allow you to hook that onto a light string. You can use that to extend up into the tree, and this particular pole is very solid and it will go up probably 20 feet. So use that on top of a ladder and you're pretty much at the top of a 30-foot tree. It's a really key installation tool. And this is covered in tape, helps keep you from breaking bulbs as you're putting those up in trees as well. One last tool that I like to use when I'm doing tree lighting out in the landscape. Sometimes the ground is uneven, and kind of grew up working in orchards, and I learned the value of using orchard ladders. It's a tripod ladder. They usually go up to 12 feet or 15 feet. They're really stable, and you can use those on uneven ground and get up in there and lift that light pole up to the top of the tree and feel secure as you're doing it. There are other ladders as well, A-frame ladders, etc. But I really like the orchard ladder for most tree lighting. So one of the most important things that I've found in terms of doing an installation and then getting hired to do it again the next year is that the best companies I know will check all their lighting installations a couple times a week, and they just build that labor cost into their proposal. And it's really important because you can find problems before your client realizes there's a problem. You can keep the lights on. People will think of you as the company that does just that. They keep the holiday lights on throughout the season. Another key factor is that if somebody does call you to fix a problem, do it immediately. Clients really appreciate that, and they will hire you next year to do that installation. If you have any questions about the products that we supply and the installation tips that we've tried to clarify here, please give us a call. We're happy to help installers with any questions that you may have, and we feel like we have the experience to answer all of those questions.